Welcome into Locked On Phillies. In today's episode, the Philadelphia Phillies have taken the first two games of a series in Houston against the Astros. They've looked incredible. This team is on their way to being back. They're over 500. So many things going right for the Philadelphia Phillies right now. We'll bask in all of its glory on today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I am your host, Connor Thomas. Been talking Phillies baseball for years. Second year as host of Locked On Phillies, credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member. And of course, Locked On Phillies is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, you'll have to forgive me. My voice is going a little bit. Just allergies and stuff, I guess, are getting me or whatever. It's this time of year. I don't know. And there's been a lot of rain, so I figured the allergies would be washed out. Not important. This isn't Locked On Allergies. This is Locked On Phillies. I just wanted to let you know why. If my voice sounds a little shoddy today, it's because of that. But let's jump into what the Philadelphia Phillies have been doing, because there's been nothing shoddy about their performance. They've taken two from the Houston Astros. They've got a chance to sweep them today with Bailey Falter on the mound. We're going to finish off the episode by talking about a preview of today's game. But let's go back and talk about the first two games of the series, because it's been a really, really great series for the Philadelphia Phillies. First, let's start with game one. And the story of game one, Aaron Nola was absolutely incredible. If you heard me on 97.5 The Fanatic doing my Saturday hosting show, I'm recording this on Sunday, you would have heard me already kind of talk about this with Aaron Nola. But Nola went 8 innings, allowed only 3 hits and 1 earned run. He was absolutely incredible. And that 1 earned run was a Pena home run in the bottom of the first inning. And the Phillies were already up 1-0 due to a Kyle Schwarber home run in the first inning. So after the first inning, you got to a situation where Aaron Nola was just lights out. He was incredible. Actually, in fairness, Aaron Nola gave up 2 home runs on the day, but Nick Castellanos brought one back. Absolutely incredible play by Nick Castellanos. He jumps up and he goes into the crowd in right field down there in Houston at Minute Maid Park, and a little bit of the low wall in right field. So he was able to jump up and reach back into the stands. And as he came down with it, he sat down at the wall. He fell down to his hindquarters at the wall and was just sitting there. And in classic Nick Castellanos personality, sits there for a second, doesn't do anything, doesn't look at anyone, and then just lifts his glove up and shows that he has the ball. It was incredible. And the best part is he comes in, and this was the Apple TV game. So maybe you might have missed it. It was only streaming on Apple TV. So if you don't have it, you might not have seen it. But he comes back into the dugout, and they had him mic'd up, and they were hearing him talk to Brandon Marsh. And he asked, was that going to go out? Dude, yeah, of course it was going to go out. You went way over the wall to get that one. But a great play by Nick Castellanos there to help Aaron Nola's performance. But really, Aaron Nola was incredible. This was the best start by any pitcher of the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies end up winning 3-1. Cristian Javier had an RBI double to score Edmundo Sosa, and then Brandon Marsh had an RBI single to score Edmundo Sosa as well. We'll talk about Cristian Javier more in just a second, but let's stick with the Nola thing. I mean, this is why the part of the fan base that wants to keep Aaron Nola says he's worth every penny that he's going to ask the Philadelphia Phillies for this offseason. When he's really, really good, when he's at his best, he's a top 10 pitcher in baseball. You just don't get those guys very often. It's hard. Top 10 pitchers in baseball. Normally, only 10 teams have one of those guys. Some teams have multiple. The Mets have Scherzer and Verlander, who could both make a claim for that. I mean, the Phillies have Nola and Wheeler, who when they're going really, really good, could both make a claim for that. I mean, you could talk about plenty of teams that have those top guys because the talent gap in baseball is huge. The teams that are willing to spend go out and get these guys at free agency, and the teams not willing to spend don't ever get these guys unless they come up through their farm system, and then they only have them until they're going to get paid. But my point is, what you just saw on Thursday night was the reasoning why people want to, Friday night, was the reason why people want to pay Aaron Nola. It's why the Phillies strongly considered giving him an extension this offseason, and it's why he feels he's worth the amount of money that he thinks he is, and why an extension didn't get done. Now, will the Phillies end up paying him, I don't know, $200 million plus? I don't know. It's really going to depend what happens with Rhys Hoskins. It's going to depend what happens with this season. It's going to depend what happens with Andrew Painter when he eventually gets healthy and gets called up, and we see him pitch this year, see what type of major league pitcher the young phenom is. There's a whole bunch of deciding factors. Here's what I'll say. If the Philadelphia Phillies decide not to do it, I'd be super surprised if some team doesn't. There's teams sitting out there that are going to look at Aaron Nola and see him come available in free agency and say, this guy, when he's going good, can carry teams to wins. And that's a very, very valuable thing. Now, on the flip side, the negative with Aaron Nola, this is once every 3, 4, 5 starts, you'll get something like this. And he's not terrible in those other starts, but he'll have a blow-up inning, or he won't be quite as sharp or anything like that. So it's just the consistency has always been the biggest issue with him. Sometimes it's year to year. Sometimes it's game to game. Sometimes it's month to month. It depends with him. But he's a coin flip sometimes as to not whether or not he'll be good. He's always good. He gets too much flack for people saying the Aaron Nola stinks. He doesn't stink. But he's not the 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 run guy as often as some of the other top 10 pitcher in baseball caliber guys are. And that's the biggest drawback. If you're going to commit that amount of money to a guy, you want it to be a guy like, I don't know, DeGrom, who's when he's healthy, every time he goes out, he's a monster. Verlander, who had like a 2-something ERA last year. He was just repeatable over and over and over again. Guys like that are absolutely incredible, that give you great outings every time, are the ones that you want to commit the big money to. And maybe the inconsistency is an issue for the Philadelphia Phillies with Aaron Nola. The other thing that was interesting on the Apple TV broadcast, they were showing his average velocity of all of his pitches. And each pitch is average velocity is lower than it was last year. Now, that could be a couple of things. That could be the long season, and he's still trying to work out his arm. It could be it's early in the season, and by the time the season's over, he'll go ahead and pick it up and get stretched out more. But the troubling thing, and this plays into the contract for Aaron Nola as well, is that he's 29. Pitchers could throw way past 29. That's fine, especially with the arms being coddled the way they are in today's game. But he's been in the majors for 9 years. If you told me that someone had like a 12, 13-year career in Major League Baseball, I'd say, man, that guy had a good, long career. Guy was great. A very good baseball player. Aaron Nola is 4 years away from that. A lot of the Phillies are on like 4 or 5-year contracts. This next contract, not that it will be his last in the league. I'm not saying Aaron Nola is going to be out of the league in 4 years, but that drop-off in velocity, it may just be that time where Aaron Nola starts to hit the backside of his prime and starts to fall off. And do the Phillies want to commit a bunch of money to that guy when he's already not that consistent? He already has consistency issues at this point. It's a big question. But that's the Aaron Nola conundrum right now. The bottom line is, Friday night, he was amazing. The Philadelphia Phillies went 3-1. The bullpen didn't even need it, but Jose Alvarado came in and got the save, and a very simple, easy game. Now, back on the Cristian Pache front, Pache, unfortunately, after hitting that RBI double to score Edmundo Sosa, was taking a lead off of second. He kind of slipped on the infield dirt. He has a torn meniscus. He's going to need surgery. He's going to be out for a while. This injury bug is killing the Philadelphia Phillies, and Pache is the latest one. And Pache is not Rhys Hoskins. He's not Bryce Harper, but he was playing well, and he's depth. And the Philadelphia Phillies are losing depth by the minute. It's troubling that with them just getting good and just starting to work out their kinks, that you're not seeing them really stay healthy, which sucks. And Pache was just starting to break out, so you feel for the kid. Seemed like he was figuring some stuff out, but now it's everyday player Brandon Marsh, and it's going to have to be. And Jake Cave's going to have to do a lot, and the Phillies are going to have to find some way to hold this down. But tough injury. That sucks. Losing anybody at this point with the injuries that have already affected the Phillies, even if it's Cristian Pache, who's probably one of your lowest 3-level players on the roster, super important to keep those guys healthy, and Pache is going to be out for a while. So that sucks, but the Phillies get the win in game 1. Now, of course, tonight, You got a 7 o'clock game, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, Phillies, Astros. You can go to the Sirius XM app, though, and you can hear every pitch of the hometown broadcast. Just go to the SXM app and search Phillies. You'll be able to hear the Phillies take on the Houston Astros tonight at 7. It's going to be a great game as the Phils go for the sweep. We're going to talk about that game in the final segment. But coming up as we continue Locked On Phillies, we're going to talk a little bit about Game 2 yesterday, where the Philadelphia Phillies, they absolutely showed off and showed out offensively. It was a great performance, and we're going to break it down next as we continue Locked On Phillies. First of all, I want to tell you about the Gametime app. It's absolutely awesome. It's great. So there are a lot of big events coming up in Philadelphia because teams are really, really good. The Sixers are about to play the Boston Celtics in maybe the biggest series in the NBA playoffs this year. The Phillies are starting to get hot. You're going to want to get tickets for that. There's a bunch of big concerts and everything. Summer's coming around. Who doesn't love a good concert in the summer? Well, buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. It's absolutely awesome. So forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, all that stuff. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And if you find tickets in the same section in a row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. You don't just get your money back, you get your money back plus them. So plus some is what I meant to say. You also get images of your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. You can buy tickets in a matter of seconds. It's super easy. It's just 2 taps and you're all set. And the tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. And guess what? All those other perks, well, you'll also get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, let's talk about Game 2 of the Philadelphia Phillies series with the Houston Astros. This is the one that set up the sweep that they have a chance for tonight against Phillies Astros, 7 p.m. tonight. It's going to be a great game. Bailey Falter has an opportunity to complete the sweep down there in Houston. Go ahead and check out the Sirius XM app, and you can hear every pitch of the Phillies hometown broadcast. Just go to the SXM app and search Phillies, and you'll be able to hear that. But the reason they're going for the sweep is because of what happened in Game 2. Aaron Nola was the story in Game 1. Game 2, the offense was the story. Now, real quick, we'll hit on Zack Wheeler because Wheeler continued what Aaron Nola put up. He went 6 innings pitched. He only allowed 3 hits, 0 runs, none earned, 1 walk, 7 Ks. He threw 104 pitches in 6 innings. It wasn't the most efficient start by Wheeler. Like Aaron Nola was incredibly efficient. Zack Wheeler, not as much. He got the job done. You'd like to see him get a little bit deeper, and I'm not going to get mad at 6 shutout innings against the Houston Astros. I'm just saying deeper into the ballgame is still something you want to see from Zack Wheeler, but can't complain about the performance whatsoever. And then Seranthony Dominguez comes in, gives up 1 hit, strikes out 2 in 1 inning of work. Fine. Andrew Vasquez comes in. He gives up a home run, but he gets through an inning, has a strikeout. All fine there. And Junior Marte closes the door, only allows 1 hit, has 1 strikeout, and the Philadelphia Phillies only allow 1 run to the Houston Astros. They scored more than 1 run. They had 12 hits on the game, and they were facing Cristian Javier, who we'll remember from the World Series in a game that we're not going to talk about. Not going to bring it up. Nope. Don't need to talk about it. He gave up, we'll just say, he gave up 12 hits yesterday, which is a nice change of pace. But let's talk through how it happened because, man, the guy who really started off the day for the Philadelphia Phillies was Nick Castellanos. Top of the 4th, it was a 0-0 ball game until the top of the 4th. And Javier looked good and Wheeler looked good. And you're like, okay, who's going to break through first? Well, Nick Castellanos homered to left field to start it off, making 1-0 Phillies. He hit it off the darn train tracks in Houston. It was an absolute no-doubt bomb. Nick Castellanos right now is an all-star in the National League. Now, we got a ways to go. It's April, final day of April. So you may be listening to this in May when you hear it. But Nick Castellanos absolutely right now is an all-star for the National League. He's been amazing. He's doing really well. I mean, the guy is hitting for power. He's hitting for average. He's fielding his position. Nick Castellanos might be the best player on this team right now. And that's not something I thought I was going to be saying at this point in the year. But that home run was an absolute nuke. Then JT Realmuto hit a sacrifice fly to right field, scoring Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh might be the best hitter in baseball right now. We'll talk more about Marsh in just a second because I saw a funny graphic from Major League Baseball. But Marsh is incredible. He's had such a great start to the year. He scores and make it 2-0, Philadelphia Phillies. And then in the 6th inning, they get to Javier again. So they were actually knocking on the door a little bit early, but they really broke through once those 2 runs were scored in the 4th. And in the 6th, with JT Realmuto on base, Cody Clemens takes Cristian Javier deep, an absolute nuke, 389 feet to right field, and he pimped it. He only hits pimp jobs. I don't know where the kid gets the confidence from, but maybe it's from his dad. Maybe it's the fact that his dad is Roger Clemens, Rocket, but I don't know, man. I love it. His swing still leaves some to be desired, but he's figuring some stuff out. And when teams are playing well, they give confidence to young players like Cody Clemens that they can go ahead and play at this level. Takes the pressure off of him. He's like, okay, well, Castellanos already hit one off the damn train tracks. There's no pressure on me anymore. I'm going to pimp one to right field off of Cristian Javier. It's great. 4-0 Philadelphia Phillies. So Cody Clemens, if he's going to have to play more with Pache out because they might have to move guys around, he might have to be a utility guy. Well, that's a good sign right there. Then in the top of the 8th, 4-0 looked like with the way Wheeler was throwing and the way the Phillies bullpen has been recently. 4-0 looked to be enough, but they got some insurance in the top of the 8th. Guess what? Brandon Marsh was on base again, and Alec Boehm doubled to center field to score Brandon Marsh, who can absolutely fly. Jake Cave then singled to center field to score Alec Boehm. It was 6-0 by the end of the 8th inning, and then of course Jeremy Pena hit that home run to left center to go ahead and make it 6-1. So Pena is still a problem. It's got 2 home runs in the series, one off Nola and one off of Andrew Vasquez. So a little bit different quality of pitchers there, but you wouldn't want to shut out Houston. We want to give them a chance, right? Got to make sure they get a run in at least in these games. That would be mean to shut them out in their home park. We'll just take the win, though. So you could give up that home run, and then Junior Marte went ahead and closed the door in the 9th. And just like that, the Philadelphia Phillies are 15-13. They have a better record than the Houston Astros. Let's go ahead and take a look at the standings for the Philadelphia Phillies, and they're still technically, I guess, in 4th place in the division. But the Braves are only 3.5 games up on the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Mets are 15-12. The Marlins are 15-13. The Phillies are 15-13. The Braves 18-9, so they're up 3.5 on the Phillies, up 3 on the Mets, 3.5 on the Marlins. So it's kind of getting tighter in the NL East. The division starting to shake out kind of how we thought it was. Miami is going to come back down to earth. They played really well to start. They're a good team, but the Philadelphia Phillies are hot right now, and maybe they can make some waves, even though the schedule is tough, to put themselves in a position that when they play the Braves and the Mets at the end of the month of May, they'll have an opportunity to play for maybe taking a lead in the division. Who knows what's going to happen over the next month? But the Phillies have put themselves in a great spot as far as that's concerned, and that's just beautiful to see. So we're starting to see the baseball that we thought we were going to see from the Philadelphia Phillies, and they have a chance to go to 16-13 today by sweeping the Houston Astros and set everything up for going and facing the Dodgers on when do they play the Dodgers? Do they have a day off or do they play them Monday? Let's go ahead and see. Got to flip months here. Yes, they do play Monday. You have the late night games on Monday. We'll talk more about that on Monday's episode. But yeah, we've got a game to talk about that's going on this afternoon. And we'll talk, or this evening, I should say, rather, with the Sunday night baseball. So coming up as we wrap up, we're going to talk a little bit about the Sunday night game, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Houston Astros, which you'll be able to watch on ESPN. And the Phillies go for the sweep. I'll tell you how they can do it as we wrap up Locked On Phillies. First, though, I want to tell you about Pro Baseball GM. It's the coolest game I've played in a long time. I've always thought I could be a great Major League GM, and it turns out it's not all that easy. If you've had the same thought and you want to run your own baseball franchise, well, go ahead and check out Pro Baseball GM immediately. Download that app. The game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise, playing through seasons and leading your franchise and fans to glory as you build a historic dynasty. In the simulation, you're responsible for hiring the right coaches and staff, managing team finances, scouting, drafting players, manage personalities, injuries, all this type of stuff. I mean, it's everything. Sign sponsorships and uniform deals and all this type of thing, all these type of things that baseball GMs have to do that we don't necessarily think of. So all of this exists in a challenging and realistic game world. And Ultimate Baseball GM, it's completely free and playable offline. Play on the go as you want and when you want to. And you can go ahead and check that all out. The best part, Locked On Phillies listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game store. So make sure to go ahead and check it out. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up on the app stores. That's probaseballgm.com, Ultimate Baseball GM. Start your dynasty today. All right, Philadelphia Phillies, Houston Astros tonight, 7 p.m., the final game of the series. Go ahead and check it out. You go to the SiriusXM app, and you can hear every pitch of the Phillies' hometown broadcast. Just go to the SXM app and search Phillies to go ahead and look that up, and you'll be able to hear Bailey Falter on the mound, going ahead and getting an opportunity to face off against Jose Urquidy. And he's got a 5.64 ERA this year. Jose, that is, not Bailey. He's 1-2. He's got 20 Ks, a 1.75 whip. He hasn't been great. He's got a 7.56 ERA at home. This is a very winnable game for the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, the ESPN analytics say a 58.7% chance that the Astros win, 41.3% chance that the Phillies win. But I believe the Astros were favored in each of the first two games in the series, and you still got a situation where you're able to take those two games. So this should be a good game as well. Bailey Falter is going to be the key to this one. The Phillies have done really, really well neutralizing the Astros lineup. But a team like Houston is too good to keep down for too long. They're likely not going to get held to one run again today. But if Bailey Falter can do that, that's awesome. That's the task. Continue what Aaron Nola and Zack Wheeler have started. If he can put together a great start, the Philadelphia Phillies have a great look at being able to sweep this team. The batting leaders right now, Kyle Schwarber has got 6 home runs. Yordan Alvarez has 6 home runs for the Houston Astros. So even there, Brandon Marsh. Look at these slash marks. I told you we were going to talk more about Brandon Marsh. Batting .341, 426 OBP, 671 slugging. He is the best hitter on this Phillies team right now. Yes, better than Nick Castellanos. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. He's absolutely incredible. And the Phillies have been kind of sharing the RBIs a little bit. Alec Bohm leads the team with 21. But, there's plenty to go around for the Philadelphia Phillies. And they've just been a pretty balanced approach when it comes to scoring and everything like that. So the lineup, we'll see what they go ahead and have. Urquidy you're looking at is a righty, so that helps out the Philadelphia Phillies knowing that they can play the lefties like Brandon Marsh and who am I thinking? Oh, Bryson Stott. Not that Bryson Stott doesn't play, but it helps these guys out. Jake Cave can play. With the Cristian Pache injury, the more righties they face, the better. Cody Clemens can play. You get the lefties a better opportunity facing a right-handed pitcher. So that's all well and good. Hopefully the Phillies will pull it off tonight. The one thing I want to talk about, too, is the graphic that I brought up earlier that I want to tell you about because I saw something today. The MLB Twitter account went ahead, or Instagram account, went ahead and put out hitter power rankings. So they have team power rankings, and then they have hitter power rankings. And they went ahead and put out the top 10 hitters in baseball. It was a super funny graphic because I was looking at it. And number 10 is Aaron Judge. He was the 10th. Number 1, I don't know. I didn't scroll up to it. It's probably Luis Arias still because he's unbelievable. That dude is still batting 500 or something for the Miami Marlins. Whatever, not important. But right ahead of Aaron Judge at 9 is Brandon Marsh. And I took a screenshot and I tweeted it out and said, imagine showing this to someone 6 months ago. Brandon Marsh, the guy who the Angels didn't think could hit at the major league level, is now a better hitter, currently is a better hitter by the power rankings that MLB put out than the guy who hit 62 home runs last year and set the American League record. That's insane. That's crazy to see. I never thought it was possible. But Brandon Marsh, great work. Kevin Long, lifetime contract. The Phillies hitting coach, he needs a lifetime contract because he just works magic with these guys. It's absolutely unbelievable. So credit to Marsh for working on it. Credit to Kevin Long. And I just thought that was funny to see the juxtaposition of Marsh and Judge, who never would have been in the same conversation last year, and now are standing atop the MLB as some of the top hitters in baseball. It's awesome. You absolutely love to see it, not to mention Stott, Castellanos, Realmuto's figuring it out. Schwarber's starting to hit some home runs. The younger guys are coming through. Clemens, Jake Cave is contributing at points. Edmundo Sosa's an everyday player. The Phillies are figuring it out, and it's a joy to watch. That's all for today's Locked On Phillies. Hopefully we're talking about a sweep on tomorrow's episode and getting ready for the Dodgers. I'll tell you all about that, and we'll get a little look at Bryce Harper's notification from the doctor. He's supposed to meet with the doctor around May 1st. Tomorrow is May 1st, and maybe we'll get some news on the Harper front. But Harper Watch officially begins tomorrow, so I'll keep you updated on all of that as well. And please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribe to the YouTube. Go ahead and check that out so you get the notifications when new episodes are posted. And I will talk to you next time on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.